Hey guys, it's Cryptic
And Beast here.
and welcome back to our YouTube channel. And for today's video,
We are going to be doing a rating video. We're going to be rating every single PY in the new chapter. So we'll be starting off with Anvil Square. What do you rate it, Cryptic?
I think Anvil Square is kind of like the salty springs of the new map. You know what you're getting. You know that every single time you drop in, you're going to get contested. You know that you're going to fight. I do think that with the location, it is really easy to get third partied, and you're always going to get a fight there. There's not going to be like a single moment or like 5-6 minutes where there's no action and Anvil. So I kind of rate it as like the salty springs and maybe like kind of like the tilted hybrid of the new map. And for that, obviously, for this map, this is like the place you want to go to if you want to get constant action, like every single game. I'd rate it a solid 8 out of 10 because you know what you're getting out of Anvil Square every single time you go into Anvil Square.
Yeah, I would rate it a 7. It's always a hot drop. Everyone lands there. It's pretty packed. Yeah. Okay, so next we got Faulty Splits.
Okay, Faulty Splits is kind of like that hybrid POI. You're getting like kind of, the old, like, I guess medieval part on like the left side, and the other side you're getting a little bit of like kind of like the old tilted building from the old map, and a little bit of like a new like bowling alley. And I just think with the layout of how it was done, I don't really like it. I feel like there's a lot of disadvantages in a lot of areas where you can get peeked and kind of just get caught at like a weird area. And for that, I don't really know. I mean, it's okay. It's interesting. It's a different POI. But, I do kind of think that I wish it wasn't as, one-sided when it comes down to just, the left side being more advantageous than, the right side, because left side you have, high ground over the right side, because left side is, where those houses are at. And for that, I'd rate it a 6 out of 10. I mean, same thing, like, it's more towards the edge, so you're not going to get that much action, but if it's a hot drop, then people are going to drop over to it. But it's one of those POIs that, it's cool, but it's not really, a POI that, I think a lot of people are going to main, just in my opinion.
So so you're rating a 6?
Yeah, I rated a 6.
I mean, I don't really remember landing there that much, so I'll just say like a 5 based on what you're talking about. Okay, next will be Slappy Shores.
Okay, Slappy Shores is honestly probably my favorite POI of the new map. I like Anvil Square, but Slappy Shores, it just slaps. Like, Slappy Shores is, it's like what is that POI? Slurpy Swamp from the Chapter 2 map, but it's just better. It's at a better location. There's a lot, it seems like it's far away from a lot of places, but really, it's not. I mean, if you just get a hammer, then, you're pretty much, a good minute into just rotating, you're into another fight when you rotate out. And I think with Slappy, like, there's a lot of metal, and in this new map, because of, like, all the medieval area, there isn't really a lot of metal. And I think Slappy Shores is by far the best POI in the new map. Like, if you guys are not landing there, it is very, you guys are making a very big mistake. Because Slappy Shores has the most materials you can get, it's the most metal, which is very rare to find in this new map. And it's overall, in my opinion, just, I think, the best POI, especially with, like, the new, like, slap canisters you can get to get, like, infinite stamina. I'm gonna rate it a 9 out of 10. I really, really like Slappy. Because, it just slaps. It's the best POI. I like the layout. I think the layout's amazing. And I feel like a lot better than Anvil Square. But, it's like the old tilted versus salty debate. You know what you're getting with tilted, but, with salty as well. It's like, I think Slappy being tilted and Anvil being salty for this new map. So overall, 9 out of 10.
I would rate it an 8 out of 10 based on what you're saying. And yeah, not many people land there, just like a couple of duos.
Yeah, I mean, it is an edge POI, so you know what you're getting with it. But I honestly like it a lot, So that being said, let's go to the next one.
Next would be Shattered Slabs.
Okay, Shattered Slabs is like a really odd. It's kind of like a worse version of like Shifty Shafts. I don't really know. I mean, personally, like. You know what you're getting with it. It's not really that good POI. It's interesting. It's different. It has like the kinetic ores. I'm not gonna talk about it for too long. It's pretty bad. I'm gonna probably rate it a 4 out of 10 to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really remember landing there that much. I'll just say 3 out of 10. Okay, next Frenzy Fields.
Frenzy feels. I think the PY is it feels bigger than it actually is, but also at the same time feels smaller than it actually is. Like I think it's the same thing. Like what I mean, like what you're getting with Frenzy Fields. You're getting like that farm POI they get pretty much every single chapter. Actually, I don't think chapter 3 we had a farm POI, but chapter 1 and chapter 2, Frenzy, Fatal, all this POI. So like you know what you're getting. It's not really. I mean, it's good POI, but like I think personally that there's a lot of open area, and if there was just a little more protection, a little more like areas in which you're not kind of like a sitting duck to get shot at. I like it more, but I'm rated a 7 out of 10. Like if you guys like it, you like it. I'm not gonna tell you not to like it, but I kind of wish it wasn't as like open as it is now, because there's a lot of areas in which you're kind of at a disadvantage, especially with kind of like the mats. The mats aren't really that easy to get in this POI. Especially there's a lot of areas in which you're not really that good. So I'd say a 6 out of 10 personally.
I mean, I would say 5 out of 10. We don't land there that much, honestly. Yeah. Okay. Next, we have Lonely Lass, I think.
Okay, Lonely Labs is like a poor man's. It's a poor man's Frosty Fights. Like it is. I think it was Frosty Flights from chapter 1. I mean, I remember landing there. Lonely Labs. I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, like it's kind of like Frosty, but I don't know. It's more like a worse version of it. Like I don't really like landing there. I think personally, the layout's kind of weird. I think I don't really landed there that much. I kind of think like personally like it's kind of like that one POI. That's it's kind of the edge of the map, and it is at a lower ground compared to I think it's Bastion right next to it. So I mean it is an okay POI, like what I mean, but it's not a POI that I'd like main or like want to land at, because I don't know, it's kind of a worse version of Frosty Flights. And Frosty Flights to begin with was not really that good of POI. I think a lot of people have fond memories of it being a good POI, but it really wasn't. I mean, it was an alright POI, but it wasn't like a POI that that's really a memorable POI, in my opinion. So for that reason, I'd say honestly probably a 3 out of 10. I think I'm not that high on it.
I would say 4 out of 10 because there's not many buildings, not much loot. Yeah, it's not
I
good.
mean, no, there are buildings, but the buildings just don't really have that much.
Yeah, they don't have much loot. Okay, next we'll do the Citadel. Citadel.
The Citadel. Okay, so this is kind of like the agency of this new map, kind of like the old like agency, like medieval version. I think it's a pretty cool POI, but I think it kind of suffers the same like issues with I think it's Shattered Slabs. Like it's cool, it's different, but it's not really like it's not really that interesting as POI. Like I think it's cool looking, but I kind of find myself trying not to go there because I just think the loot there is not enough for really even a duo to land there. I think there's a lot of like weird like spots. You can put yourself in like a pretty weird situation. So in my opinion, like it's also not really. It doesn't really feel like a Fortnite location. It feels like a location straight up from like an RPG or like another video game. Like it does not feel like it's a Fortnite location. It feels like odd. It feels different. I mean, it works with the building grid, which Epic has improved a lot on, is making PIs work within the building grid so you can actually build on it properly. But that being said, it still feels like it's a little off. It doesn't. I don't know. There's some. I mean, it's cool, but it's not like the agency. I just also think that I've often kind of find myself like not wanting to land there. I often try to find myself more.
You already said that, bro.
Like I know, but I'm trying to like I'm just saying like I'd much rather land at the Anvil and or at Slap because I just think they're better POIs. But I think it's better than the previous two that we ranked. But so I'm gonna put it at around 7 out of 10.
I mean, I would say 8 because we land there a good amount of times, but like you said, there's a lot of buildings, just not much loot, and it's like cramped together. It's very easy to get killed. Okay, next we'll do Brutal Bastion.
Brutal Bastion, I think is kind of like a bigger version of Polar Peak, but not like Polar Peak. It's similar. The colors are the same, but it's not really like Polar Peak. And in my opinion, I mean, it's pretty good. I feel like a lot of people are just landing there for some reason. Whenever I go there, I don't think it's like one of those POIs that a lot of people should land at. It doesn't really have that much loot for the size that it does have. It's more of like, in my opinion, kind of like Camp Cuddle. in which like it looks pretty big, but the loot inside of it is not really that much. I often find myself not in a good situation and not having a lot of like materials, loot. It's honestly I get more loot out of Anvil Square when there's like 20-30 people dropping on there than landing at Brutal Bastion. I still think it looks a cool POI, and I like landing there, unlike the Citadel. So I'm gonna put it at probably an 8 out of 10 because I do think it's a pretty good POI.
I mean, I'll put it as like a 6. I feel like it's kind of a knockoff of Polar Peak.
Okay.
Okay. Did we do faulty splits?
Faulty splits. Yeah, we did.
Okay. What's that one in the very corner up there?
Breathwater Bay, I believe.
Oh yeah, Breathwater Bay. Breakwater Bay. Okay.
Breakwater Bay. It's like the craggy cliffs with this new map. I mean, just like kind of like just something to notice. I feel like this map is a lot closer to the Chapter 2 map with like the way that it's designed. It doesn't look quite like it. Like doesn't have like the waters, but if you really do think about it, the right side of the map was kind of like had like I mean, it is kind of shifted a little bit. Like if you were to flip it to the other side, it'd look kind of like the Chapter 2 map. But that being said, I guess with Breakwater Bay, it would be like the chapter, the Chapter 2, I guess, the Chapter 4 equivalent of Craggy Cliffs. And, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I think I like landing there, but unlike Slappy, I just feel like it's kind of like at the edge of the map. I know the Citadel's nearby, but I kind of feel like when I leave, I don't feel like I get in a lot of fights, and when I do, it's not really real people. It's more like AIs, and I think that's kind of a sad thing because I do think it's a good POI. If it was more towards like where I say like maybe where Faulty was at, like in the middle, I think it'd be a pretty good location. But I'd say overall, I'd say a 6 out of 10.
Okay, yeah, I've landed there like once. Honestly, I don't really know much about it. I'll just say like a 4 out of 10. Okay, so now what do you rank the biomes? Like, what do you rank the snow biome, stuff like that?
Okay, so I say with the biomes, I personally I think like the biomes. I think they're really cool. They do kind of look kind of like a mixture of like the primal biome that we saw in Chapter 2 and like the Q biome, except a lot more like lighter, and it's not like as I think extreme as we saw in those 2 seasons. When we look at the snow biome, I think the snow biome is kind of like underwhelming. I kind of wish that it was kind of a little bigger, but I'd say personally, I think it is going to decrease and it is going to get smaller as he's going. I think maybe like the area above Brutal Bastion towards Frosty will kind of be, I guess, Lonely will kind of be where the snow kind of melts ish. So I don't know. Personally, I'd say the biomes for the start of a chapter are really great. So I'm gonna put them at probably a 8 out of 10 for the biomes.
For each biome?
Yeah, for each biome, 8 out of 10. Cause only 3.
Wait, have we done all the POIs? Do we rank all of them?
Yeah, we ranked all the POIs.
Okay. Well, what do you rank just the map in general? Honestly?
The map in general, if we're gonna compare it to the previous chapters, I think it's way too early. But for seasons, I guess I'll compare it to the Season 1 map, the Chapter 2 Season 1 map, and the Chapter 3 Season 1 map. I'd say just in general, I mean, there's a lot more biomes that we've seen. I think, when you look at the Chapter 2 map, I think this would be probably better than the Chapter 2 map. But that being said, it is a lot smaller. It is, I think, 30% smaller than the Chapter 3 map. So I kind of put the Chapter 3 map above it, and I put the Chapter 2 map, I think, tied with this map for the first season. And then I'd put Chapter 1 at the third place. Yeah, third place.
So what's your ranking like out of 10?
So I'd say put Chapter 3 at number 1. I'm going to put Chapter 2 and then Chapter 4 at tied for second. And then for Chapter 1, I'm talking about the Season 1, by the way, like the very first map for Chapter 1 in each of the chapters. Because it's not really fair to say overall. So I'm going to put Season 1 because it is the most bland map at the last place. So just to make it clear, we're talking about the first season of each chapter. Okay, so Chapter 2 at first, Chapter 2 and 4 tied at second, and then Chapter 1 at third.
Okay, no. So what's the number ranking for like the POIs on this new map? What's the map ranking?
Map ranking. I'm put Slappy at 1, Citadel at 2. I'm put probably Brutal Bastion at 3, then I kind of forgot the rankings I gave out, but I'll just say fall. Wait, what's that? Reality. Is that reality splits?
Oh, reality splits.
No, faulty splits. Faulty
Yeah, faulty
splits
splits.
at probably fourth. Then I'd put Frenzy Fields at fifth, I believe. Yeah, fifth. Then I'd put the Citadel at sixth. Lonely Labs at seventh. Then I'd put Breakwater Bay at eighth, and then what's that one? Shattered Slabs at the last place.
Okay, so now the whole overall on the map. What do you rank out of 10? The overall.
Overall map, I would put that at a solid. I'd put a solid 8.7.
I mean, I would say just the top unit, a solid 8.8.
8.8.
I mean, yeah, I like the POIs. It's a good sized map. I like the biomes. Yeah, they're pretty good POIs. So we hope you guys like this video. It's
Cryptic.
and Beast. We are out. Peace.